Welcome back to Face the Nation. Here's more of our conversation with women voters in Virginia. What do you think here in Virginia of the idea that two women are running against each other?
That's great. Airplane food, hospital food.
Oh, what does that mean?
That's funny. I get it. Kill you, but neither ones are worth it.
Have you made up your mind yet?
Yes.
Do you want to share with us?
I will vote for Barbara Comstock. I will hold my nose.
Indeed. That makes two of us.
And the three of you are going the other way with her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wexton. And do you view that as a vote against Donald Trump when you go to vote for the Democratic candidate?
No, not necessarily. I live in Northern Virginia, like all of you, but I live in the Luckett's area. And I feel as if Barbara Comstock has not done enough to alleviate road concerns. I mean, just basic things that are going on in my community.
Iris, do you view this as a referendum on President Trump?
The whole election, it probably has been turned into that.
But when you're casting your vote, when you go into that voting
When I cast my vote, I usually cast my vote for, again, the person who I think is most likely to represent my values and my principles and to do good for the country, or in this case, the state of Virginia.
You all do think there will be a female president at
Oh,
some point.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah, eventually, I mean.
eventually, you know, I'm 50 years old and I'm thinking, I thought that possibly in November of 2016, we would have seen the first female president. I'm not sure that it will happen within the next 10 years. I don't believe it will happen.
Maria, you're our millennial in the group.
Awesome.
Are you feeling motivated this November in a way that perhaps you didn't in the past?
I think, in a way, yes. I think that the two-party system is so polarizing, and I think that a lot of people of my generation agree with that.
Do you think you've all become more politically interested or active since President Trump?
I have. I know I have. My family has become way more political. My sister, very introverted, she is out there. She's canvassing. She is creating her own pack even because she is that motivated, and so am I. And I never really voted in an election. I wasn't registered to vote because I chose not to. I didn't want my data out there. Now I'm like, okay, have my data, but I have definitely become more political. And it is polarizing.
I've always been fascinated. I grew up in Michigan. My father was a very strong Union Democrat. And I was in middle school when the air traffic controllers went on strike. And President Reagan said, if you don't go back to work, you're going to be fired. And I was 10, 11, 12, I don't even remember. And my first thought was, well, if you don't go to work, then you should be fired. So those were conversations that I really couldn't have in my household. I definitely think one size does not fit all. So I have always been more issue driven.
Is the fact that a candidate is a woman or that she's a mother count as sort of a bonus for you? Do you view that as a positive thing?
No.
No, not in my case.
Not necessarily,
Not at all.
no.
Gender doesn't influence whether you favor a candidate.
It never has.
Almost never.
I'm trying to think if there's ever been an instance where I've just picked a woman over a man, and I don't believe that I have. I think it's, again, it's an issue for me.
I think
It has
we're
to
issue
be.
voters, not.
At this point in time, really, women in politics is still very young. So as the time goes on and more women will have been political figures for longer, they're going to be stronger candidates. And so I believe for that reason that there will be a woman president, hopefully in the next 10 to 15 years.
I hope so.
Do you think that Washington would function better if there were more women in elected office?
No. I think that the swamp is so ingrained.
So none of you think that women act differently as leaders?
They do act differently as leaders. I am actually under a woman, several layers of women leadership. It's amazing. And I'm in the IT field, and that's what makes it even better. They are strong, and they are candid, and they actually care. Like, they really do care. But I think that when you get to Congress, what ends up happening, it's a job. Like it's a job. They forget their constituency. They do the same thing that any other, a man senator or a male.
They can be just as corrupt.
But if there were more women, because the number's still relatively small, would that change?
It might change. It might change. I was in the military, right? And when it was female in that, and so when we were all together, and when you have that camaraderie, you actually build each other up and you make each other stronger. But we all had the same goal, right? We were all going for the same goal. It's not the same in Congress. You're not all going for the same goal because you represent different people and their goals are different. So I don't think that it would be more. But I do agree with Maria. If the more women that are in there, the stronger that they will be.
Do all of you think that women are in a better place now than they were in 2016?
I do.
No, I don't think anyone is actually better. I really don't, especially when you're looking at friends and they say something and you're like, oh, you are that type of supporter, and then that just puts a distance between you, right? So no one's better, women or men, children, nobody's better. Animals, they're not better either. Nobody's better. Sorry.
Thank you, ladies, very much.